It is really my pleasure to introduce my friend, Deborah Davis. Were you already starting to give your talk? No. She, you can understand, Deborah is extremely enthusiastic and very passionate about what she does. Deborah has her BS in physiological psychology and MA in sociology from the University of Pittsburgh. And her PhD is in science studies at the University of Chicago and a Danforth Foundation graduate fellow. And then she has her MPH in epidemiology from the Johns Hopkins University School of Public Health, before it was the Bloomberg Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. She has authored more than 190 publications in books and journals ranging from the Lancet and Journal of the American Medical Association to Scientific American and the New York Times. And she blogs in Freakonomics for the Freakonomics, Huffington Post, and elsewhere. Deborah has been a National Book Award finalist for When Smoke Ran Like Water, which is a very powerful book, and I really recommend it if you have not looked at it. She founded the Environmental Health Trust in 2007 and continues to lead it. She lectures at Georgetown, Harvard, the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, as well as other places, and was founding director of the Center for Environmental Oncology at the University of Pittsburgh Cancer Center and professor of epidemiology at their Graduate School of Public Health. One of her very powerful books, which is a little more recent than the When Smoke Ran Like Water, is The Secret History of the War on Cancer. And it was a top pick by Newsweek is forming the basis for national cancer policy revisions in South Africa, for example. I've read that book relatively recently. If you ever believed in conspiracy, it's true. At least as far as, for example, the why it took over 50 years for the fact that smoking caused cancer to be accepted in public health circles. So Deborah's career has spanned all areas of academia, public policy, and scientific research. Deborah was a founding member of the Board on Toxicology of the National Academy, which is ongoing and provides some evaluations and guidance to us as well as other parts of the government. President Clinton appointed her to the newly established Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Branch. She's a former senior advisor to the Assistant Secretary of Health, and she has counseled leading officials in the U.S., the United Nations, European Environment Agency, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in fact, I first knew Deborah when she was a member of the Board of Scientific Counselors of the National Toxicology Program back in the 80s. She was another, I would say, protege of David Rawls. So with no further ado, I'd like to hear all about cell phone exposure, toxicology, and epidemiology. An update. Deborah.
And it's really an honor to be here today, and I'm especially pleased and proud to be here with Linda Birnbaum as your director. I've been a fan of Dr. Birnbaum's for many years, and it's wonderful to see what she's been able to do in difficult times. And I want to say again to all of you, you are on the cutting edge of what needs to be done now to protect public health. And the reason why your work is so critically important is that the models and analysis that you do will allow us to figure out how to prevent harm and not just prove that harm has happened. So I want to tell you how I came to be concerned about this issue, and I want to explain, as I said informally a few moments ago, like most of you in this room, when I first heard there could be a problem with cell phones, I just did not believe it. At the time, I had 3 phones, and I was kind of proud of my ability to keep up with all my grad students. Well, I began to look, and I learned that I was mistaken in my assumption that if there